I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we are watching Steins, Season 1, Episode 2. Last episode, my head exploded, but in the short break we've had in between episodes, I had a revelation. Kiyoma is a mad scientist. He's smart. I'm stupid, but I like thinking like a scientist.
Ooh.
I'm a stupid scientist. So, I'm a lesser version of Kiyoma. More precisely, I'm like a diet version of Kiyoma, you know? So I, going forward, will be known as Diet Kiyoma, or Diet Ocarine. Those were my thoughts.
That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
And profound.
Thank you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Fucking
the
elevator.
elevator door.
God damn it. Three hours ago.
Maybe this is just one of those super complicated things that you don't unlock and understand until you've watched it for the 5th time.
Maybe, or we're in the timeline that the satellite crashed right now? Yeah? Awesome.
Paranoia.
He likes to object, doesn't he?
Theoretically impossible. Battle of wits.
Hell yeah, I love discussions.
Oh, he got defeated. Now he got embarrassed.
The Hoin-san is so degrading. Oh,
she's getting him back.
Organization agent.
Obviously. Ruka, that was a name that we saw on a phone.
Secret words.
Oh.
Ah. There's 3 of them.
Not siblings?
Doesn't matter.
I like Ruka.
Yeah, I like that whole scene. That was great.
So probably all childhood friends.
Behind the radio building. Whoa, I like the transparency of the bag. Hi.
あれ、流行りの挨拶って聞いたんだけど。
まさかバイトというのは？
天音鈴葉。
Suzuha.
ブラウン管が好きだから。
採用あれしてるバカだよ。
岡部ではない。
倍にすんだ。
岡部倫太郎だ。
ねえ、その袋は何？
インテリジェンスコーンだ。それ相応の対価。
つぶつぶの？へえ、元はこんななんだ。
知らんのか？
見ても。
俺と知り合ったことで聞くざまずくことになる。
ああいうのが流行って。
Aw. That was nice.
Yeah.
Never seen anybody eat corn like that. You fucking lunatic. Yeah, we heard him last episode, right?
Sure.
世界にディストピアをもたらしました。変えるためにやってきました。セルンによって作られたディストを手にするためです。
つまりセルン
自分に会うことも可能です。その場合、世界線が移動します。まず時間は
We're gonna need to read all these.
線ではありません。こうに流れる川のような
World lines.
例えば
Infinite parallels.
通り魔に殺が防いだとすれば
It's like the telephone lines, right?
Into two. One where you survive.
世界は分岐するというわけです。
年頃、アメリカのネット上に現れた自称第6年から未来の世界を救うためにタイムトラベルしてきたと語るバカがいるとはな。このリンクでも3つタイターのリンクを消したな。12件バカだ。
That's it?
10年経ったとはいえない。なぜだ。関連書はここに集めていたはず。
Different timeline.
Timeline where he didn't publish books?
Is he John Titor?
誰？
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
本棚にまとめて置いてあっただろう。ジョン・タイターって。俺はジョン・タイターについて
He's gonna
He
feel
brought
like he's
it up.
going crazy.
He brought it up to the other professor, who obviously knew about him, and the whole class did too.
残念ながら2000年には行ったことはありません。
おい、待て。待ってください。今俺を取ったな。すぐ削除した方が身のためだ。何を取っていたのだ。
照明。どこを歩いて。
Is this the person about the satellite?
ずいぶん古いパソコンだな。
知ってる？
あ、いや。写真は削除するように。
教えて。
断る。脅そうというのか。
教えてくれたら消す。
いいだろう。ただし仲間を売るわけにはいかん。俺のメアドだ。
Good man.
名前は？
風。
It's like her whole life.
待ちかねていたにゃんぞ。そこどうなったにゃん。
すまない。期間の妨害がひどく。
今日も期間打倒のための極秘会議にゃん。
そうだ。
フェイリスも混ぜてほしいにゃん。
よせ。お前が太刀打ちできるほど期間は甘くない。
非容疑があるにゃん。
何？まさか。
It's like this big like role play.
ディアナコーチで修行に耐え抜き師匠の死も乗り越え。
Oh yeah.
フェイリスはついに。
で塗り固めた女に興味はない。
ここですか。
黙れ浮気野郎が。宿してる。
She may be
2D
3D,
soul.
but she's a 2D soul.
So awesome.
これ IBN5100 っしょ。
IBN 5100.
Legendary retro PC.
秋葉原のどかってことでファイナルアンサー。
I love how they're talking.
発売は今から30年。世界がやばい。
電話レンジカッコ仮の電磁波の影響だな。
Name subject
I
to
love
change.
that it just seems like
これ眉シのじゃ。
she,
I'm interested
wrote
to
her
see what
name on
happens to
that.
the writing.
研究費で俺が買ったものだ。放り込んで変化を確かめるのだ。
一本でいいだろう。
You could just do like, yeah, one banana.
I like that she puts our names on everything.
それで電話レンジカッコ仮の。
12 again.
はい終了。
Something's gonna be different.
お、
どうした？
消えてる。バナ
レンジに入れたはずのバナナを。
Oh shit.
What?
房に完全に繋がってね。
When last time we saw it, it was broken off.
一本ちぎったよな。
This is the first step to time travel.
そういう
If you can like regulate it, right? Make it stable.
てるんですね。岡部倫太郎。いえ、法王院京馬さんでした。
How are you here? How'd you get in?
クリス。
Fuck!
Ah!
God damn it! Alright, that was Steins Gate, Season 1, Episode 2. I like the show.
I am very intrigued by this show.
There was a little more of like fun, I'd say, or maybe I was just in a better place to have fun and not think too much. And I love all the characters. Like I love the thought put into each character's depth so that it like reflects on how they speak to each other. It's like they're all like in this like role play like friend group. Like to like a nuanced degree in some conversations.
And it makes you wonder, is everyone speaking to him this way because they've known him for so long and he's always acted this way and that's just the way to be friends with him is just kind of to enjoy it?
Yeah. I don't know.
And why does he have a different name? You know, they're all his old friends who've known him from school and childhood call him Okarin, which
Yeah.
is a nickname, I'm guessing, for Okabe or something. I think that was his name. Rintoru, something like that. And he goes by a different name now. No clue why. I guess this is his mad scientist name. Maybe it has to do with the fact that like Simona and a bunch of other people have been destroyed over being around him because the organization is after him, and so he changed his name in order to protect people.
An alias from the organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it. Or he just wants to go by a different name, you know? I don't know. Do you like Ruka?
Yes.
Yeah, Ruka's great. I liked, you know what? Ruka made me appreciate Ocarine more almost. Like I like Ruka was like cool from what little we got to see him, but Ocarine's like, but he's a boy. But he's a boy. But he's a boy. I was like, interesting. I
And
don't
there
know.
was also this like fun element of like, oh, my hand is cursed, just
Yeah.
so Ruka could like, you know, exercise it.
Yeah.
And there was like a sweet. I feel like all of these friends have this sweet, fun energy together,
yeah.
which is really like infectious and nice. And it's like, wow, I want to be friends with. Even if this guy is constantly saying these little passwords when he hangs up his fake phone calls with himself, I probably still want to be a part of this friend group.
Kungru.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's. I don't know. Do you think there's anything to it that's like that he's like right with?
I think that it's definitely possible that some of the things that he thinks and invents in his head, or what people think are delusions, could actually be in fact real, and they could be affected by the fact that his memories are manipulated to some extent. It could be the idea that maybe things have been planted in his head and there's been overlap of memories before now, and he just didn't realize it. It was to a lesser extent. Maybe it was like little words or little ideas that popped into his head then
Yeah.
that, you know, are actually from the future.
You know what I caught accidentally? So I was going back to episode 1 to see if we had any of the names like Suzuha or Moika in any of like the texting.
Those ones where he was rattling off all the names.
Yeah.
Those
No,
yeah.
no. The characters we met. So the girl in the streets, Moika, and Suzuha is the girl that he gave the corn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a new character, a new person he was
Yeah.
just meeting there.
So what do you think about the text from Mayori on the 27th that says "Don't sell it"?
Oh stop! It's the
Right?
It has to be the metal Upa.
Upa, right? That's kind of weird. A little bit, right?
Yeah. I
That's
mean, I
interesting.
did say during the first episode,
Yeah.
what if there was a him that took it from her and was gonna sell it?
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was a little interesting. but I just saw that. But we got a lot more of. I'm so sorry. I'm horrible with names. Kurisu. Kurisu. This episode. Do you like her?
I like her a lot. I like her energy. The fact that she was embarrassed by him and sketched out by him at first. Like, obviously, if a random man comes up and starts, or a random person in general starts poking your cheek and then, like, pulling your jacket away from your, you're gonna be like, do I need to call the cops? Like, what? And you're telling me I got stabbed, or am I a ghost? Like, I'm going to want to distance myself. But she has this confidence that I really, really like and I enjoyed for this whole sequence where she, obviously this assistant or some person that is maybe her assistant or the person who set up this lecture starts to walk forward like, oh, I will, get the guy out of the room and, protect you from having to answer questions to this crazy guy so you can go on with your lecture.
Yeah.
But she has this confidence to be like, no, I am going to hear what he has to say and I'm going to prove him wrong and basically embarrass him. And there's this confidence to her that I was really enjoying.
There was something that she said that I was trying to... the subtitles went by extremely quick, so I was trying to find it. But she mentioned that it was theoretically impossible according to string theory, right? Mm-hmm. That's her, I guess, belief or stance because of that's the world we live in, right? Mm-hmm. So like my mind would immediately go to, okay, well, is that not what we're going for in this world, or have we found a loophole?
Was there
a Steins gate? I don't know.
Was there originally a point in time where this string theory was true, and then a point in time where it diverged and wasn't, and then in that timeline, time travel can exist.
So what do you think is the purpose of the secret words to him, right? Not saying that they're necessarily real or legitimate or there's ever going to be a payoff, but he asked, like, the person at the cafe, like, he almost expected them to say it back as confirmation that they were, like, not, like...
bugged?
Not bugged or not, like, what do you call it? Like,
a spy?
compromised.
A traitor? Compromised.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was interesting. El-Sai Kungru. I don't know... There's so many different, like, narrative points that this show is going.
I wonder when, in terms of, like, I don't know how many episodes this is. I don't know what the true plot is trying to tell, what story is actually being told. So I don't know at what point in the pacing I, as a viewer, am going to, like, wrap my head around what is actually the truth of the world.
Yeah.
And so at the moment, I'm still like, okay, we're getting, like, building blocks, if you will, of, like, things that I can use to understand, oh, world lines, oh, okay, something happens and you affect that, but that means, yes, you've affected this future, but you've started another one.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth for infinite options.
I still have an uneasy feeling about Mayuri for some reason or another. Like... There's something that gives me, like, she's broken the fourth wall a little bit, and I know that it's me just looking into it too much, but, like...
Her energy lends to it.
Like, when she's just, like, walking and, like swinging around, bumps into him, and is like, sorry, and then, like, following him, and then right afterwards, the restricted area for the, what do you call it, the radio building, mm-hmm. and then she looks down at, like, a stopwatch, or, or a pocket watch, and I'm like, and obviously, like, he notices it. He, as in Ocarine.
It could be that she, what would be, like, cool, since you're bringing that up? What if she actually, like you're possibly alluding to the fact that she might know more than she lets on with this personality that she has. And when she looks down at the watch, I mean, it is a bad angle to actually understand what the facial expression is, but it could be wistful. Almost like, and her eyebrows seem slightly, up and arched toward the center.
It looks like she's worried to me.
Worried, waiting, apprehensive. There's something about it that's more than just, oh, I have to go to work, which is what she says right after this. Like, oh, I have to go to work. So I think that that could be a cool possibility that maybe she's waiting for an interaction or something to happen that she already has an idea about.
He's the one who brought up work, too. Like, obviously, the implication there is that she's probably a little sad.
And there's this weird... It's a long time.
Bro,
This passing of the bag is a very long, slow transition.
What's the frame in between it?
That's like the mountains? They're in the city. Why are we seeing mountains?
It's so quick. Like...
Is this the type of thing where we're just supposed to watch this whole show by clicking from frame to frame? They're not in the city when the bag's passed over. You know?
Well, they're in the same place they are when they're talking right here, right?
Yeah.
They're at the...
Oh, is it at a bottom angle and that's why you're getting... Maybe that line is the top of the stairs?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But it's after that it's like
it's the
for...
mountains.
Yeah.
Boop.
It's like, okay, so my immediate impression is that, or my immediate, like, where I jump to is that, fucking Mayuri and Ocarine are somehow both consistently traveling through time, but Ocarine has lost his mind or is losing his mind when Mayuri still has an idea of what's going on, which is why last episode she was like, why are we here? Like, what's going to happen?
Oh, so she kind of just might be...
And then privy to it, or like just a little more aware of what's going on.
Actually maybe directing him, or...
Yeah, and then somehow, I'm assuming that the bananas and stuff are within this bag. So, like, there's some transfer of time or something that is putting this version of himself back on his current track. Whereas Mayuri is being is privy to this, but then is leaving this situation and like, you know, almost being replaced with herself that's meant to be in this time. That fucking frame change is so like intense. Like what is it? Like,
did you notice it the first watch through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I noticed that I didn't know what it was. I still don't really, but I noticed that it was something, and it's like.
Is it the idea, we're getting this idea of like the world being destroyed and things like that. Is that supposed to be where they are?
In 2036?
In 2030, you know, when everything's destroyed?
Maybe. It's very odd though, right? It definitely lends itself to the idea that she has, like, there's something going on with her, right?
I like that possibility.
Like
especially because she was with him during this first kind of, when we're first entered into the story and what I believe is the first real blips that he's experiencing.
You really didn't hear a scream, did you? A scream when? Today at the radio building. See, and in this moment, it's almost like it's a different person.
Yeah.
You know?
And this one, she's not bringing up the metal Upa.
No. So
maybe it's because she ate one of the gel bananas.
Maybe.
Maybe that's why she has...
Or it was her name on it.
Time travel powers.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe there's something to do with actually, like, writing on the object.
I mean, that was the only difference, other than it being a single banana rather than the bunch. That was the only other difference in that experiment, right? Was that it had a name written on it?
Yeah. And they only put one in.
Yeah.
Instead of the bunch.
Weird. After that, we got to meet Suzuha, who,
it's the new worker, new employee.
I love her.
She loves CRT TVs.
Yes. Where did that come up?
Oh, right there. You're hired. And then he goes, is this a comedy routine?
Age 18. Reason for working here? I love CRT TVs. You're hired. Is this a comedy routine? Interesting. I wonder where she's from. Obviously, she is from elsewhere, or maybe she's a time traveler. If she's only used to canned corn and doesn't know what fresh corn's like, maybe the organization is real, and these people are trying to somehow, like, find the point of when time travel was invented, and that is when Ocarine is...
To what? Stop it?
In these days.
To stop it, to have control of it, to be able to use it for yourself?
Make sure somebody else doesn't get it.
Because when he's on that message board when he gets back upstairs, which I guess we're about to get there.
Yeah. That was other than him giving Suzaha the corn and me thinking that's the sweetest thing in the world, potentially that she's from the future and that's why she
and then
doesn't
he
have
starts
corn.
eating corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In like the craziest
Which
way
I've
possible.
just
yeah.
never
Maybe
seen
that's
anyone eat
what
corn
time
like
travel's
that.
for, to make sure this never exists in the future. I'm sure I'm like playing up the bit of like that's how I've never seen anybody eat corn that way. I'm sure people eat corn different ways all around the world.
Corn is good.
Yeah. But yeah, what were you gonna say about the message board?
Okay, what was I gonna say about the message board? Oh, that they were talking about, I wrote down CERN, or like SERN.
Yeah.
Maintains monopoly on the time machines. Thank you for bringing it up. There was this idea that the people that have access to the time machines aren't just average civilians, and they aren't nor corporations. It's these individual people who have unlocked it basically and use it for their sole benefit.
I mean, you'd have to if you had access to a time machine, right? If everybody did, then you couldn't control like reliably what future you'd want because everybody else would have influence.
Right, because if you're because then you might go to this year and do this, and then someone else could undo it, or they could you're just gonna have to time travel all the time. You're gonna like that's your like daily activity. Like, ooh, I woke up and now I look outside and it's raining. I thought I made it so it was gonna be sunny tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like,
I do wonder if maybe that is like the link, right? What if these are like Suzuha is a time traveler and he is the person who could be inventing it in a different way, or the other closest person to it, so they have to come back here and try to find him because he's the only other person who knows how to make a time machine, and they're so under lock and key in the future.
maybe he's about to figure it out, and different players are either coming in to have a part of it or be able to steal it for once he figures it out.
Yeah.
It could be that people have figured out who it's gonna be, and they have to wait until he invents it in order to steal it.
Yeah. If you time travel, can you meet yourself in the past? Theoretically, right? Interesting. It's possible to meet yourself in the past. There you go.
If you do, you simply move world lines.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Ish.
And that was John Titer that responded.
Yeah. He's doing like a Q&O. What's a world line in
Parallel
before
worlds.
parallel worlds? It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. So if you meet yourself in a past and you have like two lines, right? Where you are currently, your past. You go back to see that past and you are visiting that line. But the second that you meet your past self, you create a new world line. What was the line that they said? You move world lines, right?
Yeah. And how do you... it doesn't sound like it's the type of thing where, oh, I'm going to go back get in my little time machine, go back, open up the door, I'm there, and then go back in it, open up the door, and I'm back, in my same world.
Yeah.
In my same timeline. It sounds a little bit more complicated and skippy.
Yeah. It's comprised
Like, you don't know what line you're going to be going back to.
Yeah. It's comprised of infinite parallel lines like rivers called world lines. For example, let's say a serial killer going to murder you today. A world in which you survived and a world in which you died. Yes. That comes easier because, we've had other time travel stories in our history that we've watched. He claimed he'd come from the year 2036 to save the future when we're getting to, a close-up of the hourglass.
Which is the outro.
Yeah.
Became famous on the internet, several books published, and this was all in 2000 in, I believe he says, America.
When I ask you to compare an hourglass to a clock for me.
They both tell time passage.
Yeah, but what are the differences?
One is quiet and one goes tick, tick, tick.
It's interesting. Like, I feel like when I look at a hourglass in use, I think of almost like a timer.
It's more like if I was cooking something and I needed to know when it was done cooking.
Like, when you're thinking of a clock broadly, you're thinking of a measure of an ability to capture and convey the meaning of time to somebody else in a broad term. And once you make an hourglass, you're taking that broad idea of time and making it very specific for a reason, right? So I don't know if this is to imply that John Titor only has a specific amount of time that he's able to visit a world line or to visit like a place at once, or it's like you only have so much, like you have pockets inside of time that you're able to work within. You know what I mean? Time travel's so messy.
I mean, I like the idea that it maybe you only have a specific amount of time, like an hour or something. Because if you think about the timeline of the happenings at the radio building, why wasn't he able to stop her getting this version of him that came back or tried to stop her from getting stabbed? Why wasn't he able to? Did he run out of time and him screaming was him getting zapped out of there basically and he ran out of time to save her? Did he get there at 12 o'clock, was like, I need to save her within this time, and by 12:56 he was about to disappear and she was already stabbed? Like, is there a timeline, an amount of time that he can be traveling?
All right. So episode 1, the second time he comes back to the classroom is when it's packed, right? Mm-hmm. That's when the lecture starts, and then he calls out the professor for potentially plagiarizing and using the same ideas that John Titor said, right? Mm-hmm. In the first issue that we had there, like in the first example, when not as many people showed up, why do you think not as many people showed up? Perhaps because the professor didn't have as much of a grounded lecture to say, because he had no way of coming up with an idea, because John Titor might not have existed in that timeline. You know what I'm saying?
So I like that. And he canceled his lecture.
Yeah.
In the timeline we are currently in, the Nakabachi or something, I think was the professor's name that was going to do the lecture. He canceled, and Kiyomo says something along the lines of, he was running away. And there was only like 4 people up in the front, but he wasn't there. The professor wasn't there. And he canceled. Where was I going with that? I knew where I was, and then I lost
I was
where
talking
I was.
about the idea of like him not having the influence of John Titor.
And he canceled because he didn't have the influence, but then in the timeline we had seen previous or afterwards, the guy was there and he reacted to being called out about John Titor.
So that exists a world where everybody in the room knew John Titor existed because they agreed with Okarin's assessment.
So in the world line that John Titor did go to 2000, then the girl gets stabbed.
That is
in
the
that
timeline that Carissa gets stabbed, correct.
And that she interacts with him and that he had interacted with her.
Yeah.
Previous to him going to her lecture, which we also saw in this episode.
Yeah. So, like, if we have, like, in chronological order, like, 3 different timelines, right?
Yeah.
Like, just for fun, right? For a couple minutes. Like, the first one exists of John Titor doesn't exist, right?
Or doesn't go back to 2000. Because he said, well, I wouldn't go to 2000.
John Titor's books don't exist. Right? Is that fair? And then the second we'd have that he does, and that would influence the professor. And then that would also be... The one that he doesn't exist includes Mayuri and Okarin sitting in the classroom about to talk about it when they go up to see the satellite landing, right? And we had no mention of Karisu there. And this one, the one that we're currently in, where we ended the episode, I feel like would have to be a third, because after, it seems like after Mayuri diverged with the passing of the grocery store bags, like, that set us on a motion to where we're at the end of the episode, where John Titor doesn't exist, but fuck. John Titor doesn't exist in this moment, and
Well, that's the thing is I don't think
Cariso's still alive, so that would just resemble the first timeline again.
I don't think you should phrase it necessarily as John Titor doesn't exist. I think that it needs to be John Titor 2000 or John Titor not 2000.
Okay.
Because that's the marker of time, and John Titor in this message board says he didn't go to 2000.
Okay, but so the whole time that Ocarine is looking at the computer, is this all the same thing? Because he's reading up on John Titor, right?
And there's only like 7 search results, and I believe the John Titor in the message board says that he either wouldn't have gone to 2000 or didn't have a reason to or something like that. But John Titor exists in this timeline. He just didn't choose to go to 2000 and write books and talk about time travel. And that's the real marker of the beginning.
You're right.
I would say.
So that same one would be potentially in theory the opening scene of our first episode where the classroom isn't full and the satellite lands on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And then when John Titor writes the book in 2000 is an example of when Kurisu is dead.
Yes,
and
gets
then
stabbed.
So is there the third option that Kurisu is the one who runs the lecture? And is that because that can't be the same as the first where he didn't write the books.
We can't know for sure that when he runs out of the room of that original lecture at the radio building with Kurisu, that once he goes behind the wall and looks at the phone at the static, and then he hears a scream, and then she's stabbed, those don't necessarily have to be the same line.
Yeah, okay, alright. That's fucky. Alright. That's nonsensical as shit. But okay, let's go on with the episode.
Because he disappears from her view. It's not like he's walking with her and staying with her in a singular moment. So then we have no idea as the viewer.
Imagine being like the outlier in this world where if you do try to go back into a different world line or whatever, you're the one person, you're the one constant who can never meet themselves. And you're constantly going in between lines and you're not able to meet yourself for some reason.
I could just see this being an infinite... what if there was something you were trying to prevent and you just you were like, okay, say you had a loved one and in your timeline they die. And so you go back and you make that not happen and they survive. So then that starts another timeline where they died and and now you have one that they survived. And then, and I feel like it would just be this endless cycle. Well, now there's also still one where they died. And
yeah.
You would just be constantly trying to affect different world lines to make them all be the way that you want them to be.
So in this moment, right, when we're getting our main character sitting at the computer, he says John Titor with a question mark at the username. And then he said that I didn't think I'd see some idiot pretending to be Titor now. Doesn't that mean that instead, in this world or world line, instead of appearing in 2000, this could be the first time John Titor is ever appeared?
I love that you're saying that because he's like, oh, I can't believe some idiot would pretend to be him now.
Yeah.
No one would pretend to be him now. There's only 7 search results for this guy, and it's probably just posts he's made on the internet that no one has read.
So in this...
That's the real John Titor.
Yeah.
In this timeline.
Exactly. And instead of going to 2000, he came here.
And so he's interacting probably with the real one.
What's going to happen when John Titor and Ocarine meet?
I have something to pose with that.
He could
what if he's John Titor?
Books to him.
What if he's John Titor?
I said that during the reaction, but I said it half joking.
Well, he already gave himself a new name.
Yeah, but
he's someone who creates aliases. This person came back from 2036 to 2000 America, gave himself the name John Titor. It could be.
Didn't we see
We saw
John
a
Titor?
chin, I think. I think we saw the chin of someone when it was being referenced. I don't know if it was the first episode or the second episode. It was a shot that was just the lower part of someone's face.
Here. Hallucination at channel. Time travelers here. It could be here. No, this is the explanation, I think.
I think it might have been in the first episode.
Really?
Possibly. Gosh, there's so much.
There is so much. Regardless, though, what do you think about what's her name? Moeka.
Is that the woman that was taking pictures of him?
Yeah.
There's something definitely interesting going on there. There's
Proof of where I walked today, what I saw.
That sounds like someone who's could be stuck in a similar situation of the day that our main character is having, where things are changing, and then when she interacts with different people, they don't remember a thing that she remembered.
Yeah.
How isolating, and I mean, this episode was paranoia.
Yeah.
Time travel paranoia. Like, that is exactly what we're seeing kind of being bred from what's happening to him, and we're seeing another character seemingly responding to their own paranoia that could be totally with the same thing.
If her phone works like our main characters, and her wouldn't potentially data of hers be deleting if she was going in between world lines too?
Possibly.
Like,
maybe that's why she tries to like take everything, and so that hopefully she'll have some of it.
Yeah.
So maybe it helps her know which world she's in, which
Maybe.
world line she's in, because then if she looks at her photo library, she'll know what did I do in this world line,
Where I walked
where
today,
I
what I
was
saw,
in that
yeah.
world line. It could be almost like a diary for each world line.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like to like constantly taking pictures so that you're able to identify which one you're in, because it's not like it has a number.
And then
type
you
beat.
wouldn't be like going up to someone like a friend and being like, "Oh, I had fun at the park with you today," and
Yeah.
they'd be like, "We didn't go to the park today." If you had looked at your phone, you wouldn't see pictures of the park
Yeah,
with so and so friend.
you're right. What do you think the IBN 5100 is? Do you think that is like a time machine, or that's the source of like, or like that's a computer? Do you think that's like that's the beginning of it? Like that's the root, that's the seed?
I think it's interesting to bring up a retro PC, especially with how our main character likes to talk into TVs as if someone is spying on him. So there's definitely an interesting relationship with technology and using technology. Maybe this original PC, something about it could be used and created into a time machine. It's a retro, rare PC that people are trying to get their hands on and they can't find.
Yeah.
No one can find it. Maybe she's trying to find it.
So, was it the Mayushi banana that
I don't
was?
think so.
What?
It was the one at the very end that they took off, because you can see when they put it back on the table where it was pulled off.
Yes, but I can't see which banana has the writing on it.
It seems like it's in the middle of the bunch.
Do we get a wide shot of that? Because look, it does.
But doesn't it look like it's like the second or third banana?
It does, yeah. But
And you can tell from this shot that one has been taken off the end.
And we don't see it in the microwave, do we?
Mm-mm.
But we don't see it back on the table either, right? So it's definitely not the one with writing on it. That's
The writing
confirmed.
could have just been a cute detail about how she writes on things, so we would think about the metal Oopa.
Yeah, but it's like when we see the banana again, or the pack again, we don't see the writing on it. Like where's the writing anywhere on it? We get several shots from different angles, and it's like, where's the property of Mayushi? It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem like it like affected the whole thing. Her
Yeah.
existence there is gone now. That's fucking crazy.
Because in this timeline, where the banana ends up back onto the bunch, she hadn't written on it.
Maybe, I don't know. Then we get Karisu coming in at randomly here. What do you think? Why is she here?
Is this the timeline still where he spoke out and objected at her lecture? And so maybe she's intrigued by him?
But intrigued's different.
But doesn't make you barge into someone's home.
Yeah. Does she know more? Is she from the future too? Is she from the organization? Does she know more than we do? Everybody knows more than we do.
Was she testing him when she in amusement
Ah.
spoke to him during the lecture? Was she trying to
See
hear
if it-
hear how smart he was?
or-
Maybe hear how far along he was?
Yeah, or how far along he was, or if he had figured something out yet. Maybe.
Because we're one of our guesses might be that he's gonna be the one that creates it, and some people know that and are gonna try to steal it from him.
What if him screaming upstairs that led him to Kurisu in the first episode was literally just him upstairs? He could have met himself there, and it was another version of him reacting to Kurisu's death first.
Just fun stuff to go with for that. One version, he's the one that stabs Kurisu. One version, he dies, and the scream was him dying.
Yeah.
But when we go up to the room, she's stabbed. It could have been him in that room fighting with her.
Yeah.
Maybe she was gonna stab him.
Maybe.
Self-defense.
I like Daru a lot. His design's really cool, and I think he's my favorite character at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he say about it's a 3D girl with a 2D soul?
Oh, yeah, 2D soul. I was like, oh, that's such a good line.
That made me like really happy for some reason.
Well, I still have nothing to go off of for the sender being SG-EPK at JTK92X29.
Wasn't there a comma in there? Is that a comma?
I think that's a point.
Oh, 2.2?
Yeah. JTK, John Titor something. Maybe. EPK.
What
What if it's a translation? EPK, the code word is
El
El Sai
Kongro.
Kongro. Maybe the Kongro.
At
'cause
John
in
Titor.
in Japanese, they don't have C's, right? It's K's, kon. So it could be a like misstep there. L, like it's an abbreviation for it, no? SG, Steinsgate, that dash, EPK, El Sai Kongro, at John Titor, Kiyoma, which is his name, 92. I feel like I'm in National Treasure. I don't know what the 92 is yet.
9 minutes into... No. 92 seconds into episode 2. No.
92x29. So they're mirrors of each other.
Mirrors of each other.
In Japan.
Which could mean that John Titor is Kiyoma.
Yeah.
They're mirrors of each other.
Holy shit.
Ah! More evidence for my theory that he is John Titor. I thought you were so crazy for writing down that sender email.
That's
in
pretty
the first
compelling.
episode.
I'm not
so
saying
fun.
that like we're right
no,
on.
it's just fun.
But
This is
that's
all for
pretty
fun.
fucking compelling. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, I'm sorry. I've devolved into fucking insanity. Okay. Alright, that's all I have.
It's so
You?
early to do that too.
I know.
You're
it's
even
episode
drinking
2.
a Dr. Pepper. It's supposed to make you more intellectual, apparently.
No, I'm diet.
Oh, that see,
Yeah.
it's not working.
God damn it, the calories. Time
It's
travel.
what stimulates the
Thank
brain.
you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.
In another world line, you weren't drinking diet.
The better one.